Hello. So I don't. I think I'm on. I think I'm online, and I don't. I don't know if any of you are there already, but anyway, I'm going to start and say that. First of all, happy Passover, happy Easter, everyone, and it's really wonderful to be here. Oh, I have someone joining us. Hello. And I feel very honored to be part of this really wonderful initiative of collecting so many beautiful speakers to share their knowledge in the community, especially now in the COVID-19 situation. And I'm going to speak with you today about how we can stimulate children's creativity through yoga and art-related activity. So to shortly introduce myself, I've been practicing yoga for 20 years now, and I've been sharing yoga, meditation, mindfulness with children and adults and children of all abilities. I have a background in classical ballet, and I'm also a visual communication designer. Also, for the past 4 or 5 years, I've been running teacher training. I've been part of a team of running teacher training. And in the past year, I've been running my own teacher training with a yoga campus on how to empower children through yoga and creativity. So what I'm going to talk with you, oh, I have more, it's fabulous to see you here. Hello. So what I'm going to talk with you today, it's about how we can stimulate children's creativity, imagination, and self-expression through yoga and art-related activity. And over the years, I've noticed that children at very young age, they are very connected to their creative mind, and they use it to explore the world around them very naturally. And as they grow older, they tend to lose this connection. And this topic has been the subject of many research papers over the years. For example, a recent study by UC Berkeley psychologists, they suggested that creativity generally tends to decline as we age. And through a series of experiments, it was found that adults resort to less creative thought process than children. And this is something that I can really relate to that very easily. And just as a very short experience, we can try it right now. So I have a paper roll here, and you probably have many of these at home right now, especially when we had so many toilet paper around. And if I will just ask you to think of the different uses that you can do with a paper roll, I'm wondering how many you can find in 10 seconds or in 1 minute. So just as an experiment, just think of a paper roll and think of maybe you can even write in the chat box of the different uses you can think we can do with paper roll. Let's see if we have here. All right. So I would like to share with you, actually, this is a practice that I love doing with children. It can be with paper roll. It can be with a twig that you find on the street, anything that has a different use to it. So children told me that with this paper roll, it can be a pen holder, it can be a vase, it can be an insect tunnel, a secret holder when you tell a secret to a friend. You can open it and then have it as a bracelet. You can fold it and turn it into a little purse. So you can see that there are many, yes, musical instruments, spin the roll. How far I can read Martina. How far can you roll the tube by blowing it? Yes, so there are so many. A toy or for hamsters, fantastic. A caterpillar, cut it end and make it a caterpillar. So if you will try and use it, you will see that there are many uses for for a paper roll. And this is just one activity to really stimulate creativity. I strongly believe that we are all born creative, and we have the inherent curiosity and imagination from a really young age. And all we need is to really have the safe space to keep growing and stimulating it. Now, before we continue, I would like just to establish the understanding of what is creativity, because there are so many definitions to creativity. So I'm wondering, and I'm really curious to hear from you. If I'm saying the word creativity, what comes up for you? And in the meantime, as you think about the word creativity, I would just say that there are many different, if you will ask a scientist, or if you will ask philosophers, artists or thought leaders, everyone will give a different definition to the word creativity. So even if you don't think of it right now, it's fine. This is something you can just find out later on with yourself. I would like to share with you how the Oxford Dictionary defines creativity. So let's see, before that, imagination, expression of yourself. Yes, when you let the imagination run wild and act on this feeling. Exactly. So the Oxford definition, something original and with accepted value. Yes, fantastic. So let's see what Oxford definition is the use of imagination or original idea to create something. Now, this is a definition, of course, that is, if you Google Oxford Dictionary, that will come to you. But I think that it's a good definition, but personally, I prefer what Sir Ken Robinson defines creativity. And he says that creativity is a process of having original ideas that have a value. Now, the reason I prefer the way Sir Ken Robinson defines it is because I think that we can use our imagination, and imagination, it's you think about an idea, it comes to you, and you have another idea, but unless you will have some kind of a value to it, you have the ability to evaluate it. This is not creativity. So before we'll continue, I would like to just make it more clear that when a child is trying to find a solution to a new problem, they face the evaluation process as they go through. So they try it out, they see if it works, and if not, they try something else. So it needs to have some value into it, right? Now, people usually attach creativity to art, and if you will come to someone and you will speak to him about art, about creativity, and you might hear many people saying, oh, I'm not creative, because they have in their mind artists or musicians or people who play on stage. But actually, creativity is, I really believe that we are all born creative, and you can find it in, as I said, in art, but also in math, in engineers, in cooking, in parenting, the way you raise your children. In also, it can be, you can find it in problem solving, how you find solution to different problems. It can be on looking at situations from different angles. It's about self-expression, and how you manage to express yourself in different situations. And this is, as you can see, this is something that creativity can be found in any aspect of your life. And it's a good force in our life. And it supports one's well-being, and it reduces stress, and it can be preventative measure for anxiety. So when we talk about creativity, we need to talk about the creative process, Because creativity, as you find out, and you might try yourself to find a definition for yourself for creativity, it's something that has many interpretations, but the creative process is quite straightforward. And it includes three main components. And the first one is personality traits. And for example, self-confidence, curiosity, and these are things that we're going to explore in a minute. It also includes emotional processes, things such as fantasy in play or involvement in tasks. It's also about cognitive abilities like divergent thinking and the ability to apply judgment. Now, this is why I actually fell in love with yoga, because it fits so well with enhancing creativity in children. And why I fell in love is many years ago, because there is no right or wrong. There is no judgmental. It's not competitive. It creates an opportunity of exploration. You can really express yourself and try new things. And therefore, based on my experience with children over the years, I believe that the yoga practice is a wonderful way to support the development of the creative process in children. Now, as we look on how we can use to enhance and stimulate children's, there are some personality traits that I would like to share with you. And I mentioned before curiosity and self-confidence. So first, let's look about curiosity. But before that, I would like to share with you also that there are a few examples on how the yoga poses can enhance such traits and like curiosity. And the first one is language. So when I want to help children stimulate their creativity, I use a very specific language. And this is when I use the word I wonder. Because when you say I wonder to children, you immediately send them a message that there is no right or wrong. You're really curious about the solution, about what's going to happen next. Let me just close that. All right. Also, yes, as I said before, there is no right or wrong. So children are free to explore. They are free to come up with their own solution, with their own ideas or thoughts. So there is a two-way of communication. This is why I use the word sharing a lot rather than teaching, because when you teach a child something, you hope them to follow your guidelines. But when you share with them information, there is a two-way communication. So you ask them a question and then they ask you, and maybe they want to teach you something, and then you follow their lead. So this is definitely something that supports their curiosity. There is also the way that I like to explore curiosity, and we're going to try it in a minute. It's by exploring different body parts. And the way I like to, before I even try a yoga pose, I like to give the children the opportunity to get to know how they move their body, how they let different body parts to lead a movement. So let's get into our child's mind and our curiosity. Now, before we'll start this short practice, I'll just say that I don't know all of you who are here on the other side, and I don't know your physical abilities. So please, at any point when you feel that you don't feel comfortable, please don't do it. You can also do it on a chair. You don't need to stand up, and we're going to start. So what we're going to do, I'm going to play a music, and we're going to start and move our bodies. So rather than thinking of a yoga pose, we're going to explore how it feels to move our body when different body parts start to move it, all right? So I wonder how it will work for you. So let me just put the music on. And if you wish to stand up, please do stand up. Hopefully you can hear the music well. If you don't hear the music, just let me know, but hopefully you can. So we're going to stand up. And we're going to start, and we're going to pretend that our brain now is in our elbows. And as you start and move your body, start to move it with your elbow. So let your elbow move your body all around as if your brain is right here. And I like to see when children are doing it, they really get to feel so happy and free about it. And it goes in all different directions. And you can decide if you want to make small movements or really go bigger, and then maybe you want to use the other elbow to go. And now we're going to change it and think of the movement that are coming from your nose. Now we're going to move our body and letting the nose lead the movement. So I wonder how it will be to move your body with your nose. And again, you can do it really slow and small movement, or you can go in big direction, long. Now, let's think about the hips. So think about your hips. Now they're starting to move and lead the movement. So how will it be to go from your hips? And children especially love this one, when they tend to walk backwards or forwards in all directions. And you might see that children do big movement, small movement. All right. Then very slowly, we're going to pause here and just come back to the center and notice placing one hand on your heart, one hand on your belly, and just notice your breath. So after a movement and exploring how it feels to move in different directions with body parts, I like to come to center and ground. So just notice your breath without changing it. Great. Now another way to help children to stimulate the development, the creative process is, and we're talking about curiosity, is with the tree pose. So rather than, I'll come maybe closer, then I'll stand again. So rather than letting them, telling them what pose they're going to do straight away, I would like to let them the opportunity to explore the tree. So I'll tell them, I wonder how your tree will look like. So here we go, I stand again. How your tree will look like. And then I give them the opportunity to try the tree pose in the way they like. So it can be an oak tree, orange tree, apple tree, pear tree, any trees that they like. And they come up with different trees, different movement. They lift their legs, they try, and this is how you really help them to tap into their curiosity and offer them an opportunity to express themselves. And there is no right or wrong, as we said before, so everything will work well. And then I share with them the tree pose as we know it in the yoga tradition, when we standing on one leg. So if I'll go back, it's fine. This is just for understanding. And then I will share with them the yoga pose, and I'll tell them that you can place your foot maybe on the floor a little bit higher, as long as it's not on your knee. Look at one point in front of you. Extend your arms or bring them in front of your heart. So I will take them through the yoga. I will take them through the tree pose as we know it. Right? But the fact that they had an opportunity to explore how a tree pose feels for them it's something that really helps them to tap into their creativity and their curiosity to elevate it. Now, another thing that I would like to share with you is we are talking about curiosity, and the other one is self-confidence. So how can we help children to stimulate their self-confidence? One of the tools that I like to share with children is the Enchanted Wonders cards, which are cards that I made in my yoga journey. And inside them, there are different poses. And I am going to use, let me just put that here. I would like to use the I am pose. And the I am is basically to tap into our qualities. So what we're trying is to give children tools to be able to tap into the goodness in them. So even if they try something and they're not happy with it and they get frustrated and sad, they can always tap into their qualities and help them to reassure who they are and what they're able to do. So if I would ask you now to write down 3 qualities that you appreciate about yourself, how easy will you find it? Or if I'll ask you now to write down 3 things that you don't like about yourself, how easy will that be for you? So most of the people, most of the adults that I share this practice with them, they said that it's much easier to write things that we don't like about ourselves. And surprisingly, children at the age of 5, 6, 7, they also said that it's easier for them to see what is not right about, what they don't like about themselves. So this is actually a practice that I like to do with really, to start with children from a really young age. So let's do that. What do? We stand up, or you sit on the chair. I might just sit on the chair. And you have one hand on your heart and one hand in straight out. And then you change. So if you'll be standing up, you will stand and twist. If you're sitting on the chair, you can just twist. And every time you have one hand touching your heart, you're saying, you're naming a quality about yourself that you love and appreciate. And this practice helps children to really build self-confidence and reduce anxiety. So here we go. Hopefully you're doing it as well as you watch this video. And I'm going to say, I am creative, I am kind, I am thoughtful. And by naming the qualities and even saying them out loud, it gives even more an affirmation to the qualities in me that I'm aware of. Now, to emphasize that, I mentioned before that I use yoga and art-related activity. To emphasize that, I would like to share with you an art activity that I like to do with children to really tap into affirmations. Now, I must say that I use affirmation a little bit different. Rather than naming them and saying, I am strong, I am clever, I am courageous, I use the loving kindness affirmation. And there is a reason for that. And the reason is backed up by the really amazing work of Christine Neff and Chris Germer that I had the honor to study with them. And the idea is that when we are sharing affirmations and we're saying something about ourselves that is not true, it can really create anxiety reaction into that. So if I'm going to say to myself, I am courageous, and repeat that again, and actually I completely don't feel this way, I create even more anxiety than I had before because I need to fulfill this this word courageous. So rather than saying I am courageous, I use the loving kindness way of saying it. And I say, may I feel courageous, or may I be courageous, or may I be peaceful. And when we are able, when I'm able, or you will be able to share that with children, you will see that they are more and more get to really have their self-confidence reassured and have something to hold into it. So this is an art project that I like. Hopefully you can see it and you don't see it as I see it now, like mirroring written. So you can take a piece of paper and put in the middle of it the words, may I be, or may I feel, or anything that starts like that. And then decorate it with different strips of paper. And then you can choose the wording that you would like to add to the may I be. And it can be, may I be playful. Because if I'm going to say to myself, I am playful, and actually I completely not there, when I'm saying, may I be playful, I bring an invitation, I make a wish, may I be playful, or may I be creative. So it's not something that I impose on myself, I bring an invitation, may I be creative. And this is something that really supports children's self-confidence, because we're not imposing anything on them. We ask them to invite themselves to feel or to be in a certain way. So then you can just put along these lines the words that you would like to add to the may I be. And it can be a beautiful activity actually for the whole family. So the parents are doing it and the children are doing it, and then you can just show each other your creation. Let me just see the time. Okay, so I would like also to share just one more thing before I'm going to give you some time for questions. We were talking before about the different events that need to take part of the creative process. And one of them is also embodiment of a fantasy in play. And when we're talking about fantasy in play, we're looking at embodiment of a pose. And the embodiment of a pose is something that is can be so easily done in a yoga, using the yoga poses. And if I will think immediately of a pose, it can be the lion pose. So with children, I will tell them, okay, so now let's pretend that we are lions, and the lions are lying in the savannah, and they have their mane, and they have claws, and they have paws. And I ask them, so what else do you think the lion will have, or how will it look like? And some children, they like to be lion cubs. Some children like to be big lions. So I just give them the opportunity to choose which lion they are going to be, and also that promote their self-confidence. So I don't impose on them to be a big lion. And then I tell them that this lion, when he stretches, he lifts his paws and claws, and then when he's ready, he's going to take his tongue out and breathe out and maybe roar. Now, this is a fantastic way of self-expression with children, but we need to bear in mind that some children, they don't like to do it. So this is why I offer the lion cub. So the lion cub, he will stretch his arm and just open his mouth and say, and then maybe on the second time, they will be able to make the sound, because sound is another thing of helping children to self-express themselves and really help them to stimulate their creativity. So I would like, so I think that's now we have maybe a few more minutes before we continue to the next talk. And I was wondering if you have any questions Any questions? Because there is so much more to cover, but I just wanted to give you a little understanding of how we can really stimulate creativity in children using yoga. So I was wondering if you have any questions, and I'm wondering, it's here in the Q&A. So, and your questions can be related to creativity, to how to use creativity in your yoga session, or if you have any questions related to anything that I said now. And just to let you know that you can always find me. I'm running classes at the Life Center in London, and also with the yoga campus, I run my training and workshop. I see Louise saying hi there. So I'm wondering if she's typing a question. We'll see in a minute. And of course, you can always find me on my website, which is ayalayoga.com. And I hope that on YouTube at the end, you can see it there. What were the names of the people working with loving kindness principles? So it's Christy Neff and Chris Germer. So if you will look for them, you will see them. Christy Neff with double F and K, and Chris Germer. All right, I have someone here on the chat. Can you show as an example of how you would use one of your Enchanted Wonders cards? All right, so I just show you the I am pose. What I like to do with the cards, let me just take this chat box over here. So what I like to do with the cards, something that really stimulates their creativity, is to choose, let them choose, let the children choose few cards. All right, let's say they chose 3 or 4 cards this way. And then to put them in the order that they choose. Okay, so we are creating a yoga dance. So they put it in the order that they want to do it. And then they follow the order that they chose, and they create a little sequence, a little vinyasa. Now, for young children, I don't tend to correct them and talk with them about moving energy along the poses. I just let them find the way that they feel most comfortable. And the reason for that, again, because I'm looking for ways to give them self-confidence, to tap into their curiosity, to check few ways. So even if they chose few cards, I will tell them, that's really wonderful. It looks so interesting. I wonder how it will feel now in your body when you try to put the cards in a different order. So I help them to try out new ways of trying a new pose. And that actually is very useful with young children. They can take 3, 4 cards. Older children, even 10, 11, they love doing it by just placing even the whole 26 cards one after the other and create a whole yoga dance with them. If you will see on my website, there is a link to the Enchanted Wonders website, or if you go on Instagram, I keep posting them different ideas that you can play with the cards. I hope that I gave you some food for thoughts, and that you will really join the journey of elevating children's creativity through yoga and art-related activity. No question, but just a big thank you. Thank you for sharing, amazing. Oh, thank you for all of you, and thank you for joining in. And I hope you will enjoy the sun, even if it's just opening the window in your bedroom. And thank you again, HealthFlix, for having me here, and have a wonderful weekend. Namaste, everyone. Thank you.